Yes, people. It's Jacob on the one up top. I hope you're having a blessed Sunday. I've just come back from a long walk. I just thought I'd go and get some fresh air as the weather's all right, to be fair. So I just thought I'd go and do that. But then I thought to myself, right, instead of doing it before, middle, and after, I'm going to do a little preview, couple of minutes, just thinking about some of the stuff that I've seen for both sides. You know, the game that I'm going to speak about is the game that's coming up, United against Tottenham at White Hart Lane at Old Trafford. Sorry. First and foremost, the big news is that Son is out, which in my eyes, I felt that he needed to come out anyway, but it's a hamstring problem, which is crazy because, you know, granted we're in the Europa League, but he should have been rested for that game, and he should have been brought off a lot earlier, especially probably when we went 2-0 up. If my memory serves me correct, he was still playing. You know, I don't really feel he's a leader anyway. You know, he probably leads by example, but I can't imagine Son being a proper captain, if that makes sense. I see Romero in that a bit more. He's been a bit less erratic, so he can come in and maybe, you know, ruffle the feathers. And I think the team needs to come together and understand that, you know, Son's been on bad form, but he's still probably our best player. So we need to show that we can rely without him. But another thing I was thinking about is Man United. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine on WhatsApp earlier, and it's one of those. It's weird with Ten Hag and Man United because it gets to the point where he'll get a couple of bad results. Everybody's saying next game he's going to get sacked, and then the next thing you know, he pulls out a result against the Tottenham, against the Chelsea and Arsenal, Man City in the FA Cup or whatever, and everyone stops talking about it. Then he kind of keeps it, you know, at a level playing field, and then it happens again. It's like a revolving door. And I generally get, you know, I get the vibe that will happen today. You know, whether Spurs play badly or not doesn't really matter because we tend to play well and lose games or draw them. You know, if you look at every game that we've played this season, we probably we haven't deserved to lose any of them, but we've lost to Arsenal, we lost to Newcastle, and even if Karabag took their chances the other day, that could have ended up in a bad result for us as well, even though we went down to 10 men. But yeah, when I look at United, I think to myself, you know, Bruno Fernandes is someone that hasn't been scoring for ages. He's their captain, a bit like Son, really. You expected him to get the goals, you expected him to be the talisman, and over the last few weeks, maybe even towards the tail end of last season, haven't really been doing well, the both of them. You know, they are two captains that have been cried out by their fans to kind of come out the team and let the others see if they can work around not having the talisman. And I think Man United might need to do the same thing as well. I'm not saying that he's got to come out and be sold, but I look at them playing Christian Eriksen in a deeper role where you need legs. And for Tottenham, Eriksen is arguably one of my favourite players ever, playing in Bruno Fernandes' position, but Man United never seem to allow Eriksen to play in that position. Like, if you've got legs around Eriksen and you say to Eriksen, get on the ball and start creating, you'll have Højlund, Rashford, Garnacho, whoever you got, probably scoring more goals and Eriksen getting more assists than Bruno Fernandes would. You know, Bruno Fernandes, I think, because he's the captain and he always plays 90 minutes, you know, I've seen him throw strops and Ten Hag change his mind on substitution decisions. I think he needs to come out and have a time on the bench. It doesn't matter what level of football you're at, whether you're the Premier League, Championship, non-league, Sunday League. You know, I've been there before where I feel that I'm one of the better players in the team. And then because I've had a few bad games, I find myself on the bench. I found myself on the bench as a captain before. Do you know what I mean? And it's one of those ones where you get annoyed, you get pissed off, you're sitting there on the side thinking what's happened, but then there's a fire in my belly saying, if he brings me on, I'm going to show you that I shouldn't have been on. I shouldn't have been off. And then when you do that and the coach comes up to you and says, I knew you had it in you, but you weren't going to have it, being comfortable just coming on the pitch all the time. And I think it's the same for Son and Bruno Fernandes. They're both top players and they both know that they're going to start every week. I think whether it's an injury or not, they both need to come out. So yeah, that's what I was thinking on my walk. I just thought, you know, I doubt Ten Hag will drop Fernandes, but I'd like to just, you know, in terms of football, because I love football first and foremost, see how Man United would play without Bruno Fernandes and having Eriksen as a creative midfielder, and see how Tottenham would do with Son. I'd like to see it because I think there'll be teams where I think Tottenham are probably a bit more of a team. everybody understands what we're doing. You know, we're still trying to figure out how Ten Hag plays. But one thing you do know about Ten Hag is they do counter-attack, and that is what could cost Spurs. You know, we'll have all the play in the world, but in hindsight, we always get caught in a counter-attack. It happened against Newcastle. It happened against Leicester. And if it isn't a counter-attack, it'd be a set piece. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with Son. I'd like to see Maddison come on the left and Bentancur come in, because we're going to need a bit more security than what we've been having over the last few weeks, especially at Old Trafford. Like, you know, it doesn't matter who they are. Man United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. And this Man United team always turn up against the bigger sides and get a result. And, you know, correct me if I can't remember the last time we beat Man United. I remember beating them when Sarr scored the goal, but then after that, I think we've lost every single one, unless my memory is a bit all over the place. But yeah, the lineups will be out in about 40 minutes. So I'm going to go get myself a little bit of Sunday lunch, get the beers in the fridge, and I'll see you in about 45 minutes for the lineups. Come on, you Spurs. Yes, people, I'm back again. Judging by the look on my face, the lineups are out. Now, obviously, I touched on the fact that Son is missing. But I'm not really happy. So I'll go to Man United first. I've got to do off the top of my head. So if I make a mistake, put it in the comments. I do apologise. Man United have got Onana in goal. I think it's Dalot left back, Mazouari right back, De Ligt and Martinez. They got Ugarte and Maino in central midfield. Bruno Fernandes in the number 10. Rashford and Garnacho on the wings, and Xerxes up front. If I look at them first, if I'm going to be completely real with you, if someone said to me, get a Man United team, put it together and say what the strongest lineup would be, I'd say barring a fit Luke Shaw, that's how I would have called it. I mean, like I said before, Eriksen and Fernandes, they should be competing against each other for the same position. So Fernandes is killing it, Eriksen's on the bench. I don't see either of them really being a deep line playmaker, and I don't feel that either of them, they don't work together in the same position. I don't think they could both play in the 8. They don't complement each other well. You know, Rashford arguably got dropped against Crystal Palace the other week, which I thought was a bit bizarre considering he'd scored, and he's probably going to get a bit of leverage on his form from that. Garnacho, somebody that's always been on the bench of Man United, which I don't get. Conveniently, the one time I drop him out of my dream team, he starts. And then Xerxes impressed me. I just think he just needs to put a few more of his chances away. Ugarte, I haven't really seen too much of him. I saw him against 20 bits and bobs, ferocious tackler. So that's something that Man United have got, and I feel that's what we lack, especially when you look at our lineup. So if we go to mine, we've got Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Udogie left back, Van de Ven and Romero central defence, Bentancur in the number 6, Maddison, Kulusevski in front of them, and then Johnson, Werner and Solanke up front. Two things I've got an issue with. First and foremost, I think Bazuma should have been in the team to give us a little bit of balance in midfield, because if United are going to be hitting us on the counter-attack, I'd rather have someone like Bazuma sweeping up with Bentancur or Sarr. You know, for Sarr and Bazuma to both be left out, who knows? But again, when we played Brentford, that was how we played. We were very open, got the results. So Man United are a better team, harder because it's away. You know, our away form is terrible. Especially against the top 10 sides, you know, we just don't get results. We don't get results away. So for me, I think, again, as much as I do like Ange Ball a lot of the time, it needs to be a bit more adaptable. We need to be going to away games and approaching away games with a little bit more caution. You know, we can't just go and keep blowing teams away. But I think you're more likely to do that at home because other teams are going to do what I've just said. You know, Kulusevski, somebody that not everybody, but a lot of Spurs fans have always cussed. I've always said, regardless of his output, his input towards the game, he's always got his head down. He's always digging in. He ain't going to shy away from a tackle. And he always tries. He's the one player I look at and think, no matter what form he's on, you can see he's giving it a go and playing for the team. So I'm happy that he's back in form for us. Maddison had a good game against Brentford. Brentford is a game that if you look at the score and watch Match of the Day, again, we won 3-1, but when you're looking at the balance of play, especially in the first half, there should have been 6 goals easily. Glad that Solanke's got 2 in 2. Hopefully he can take this form into this game. Well, it's going to be a tricky one, without Son. I know Son's been out of sorts, and I've been crying for him to come out of the team just for rest and being a bit out of form. I don't know whether the captaincy's weighing on him or something, but Son has these moments and just needs a rest. I'd rather have seen Maddison out on the left, cutting in inside, Kulusevski with a bit of a freer role with Bentancur and Basuma in there, just so we've still got that sort of attacking look towards us. But with Werner on the left, he doesn't fill me with any confidence. I've been waiting for ages just for you to have that one game where I go, all right, cool. It was well worth the purchase, Tottenham, well worth the purchase, Ange. But you're not seeing it. If he all for me, he's got his pace. Now, if his pace, that means I've got a lot of friends, best friends that are fast at running and were fast at Timo Werner's age. Does that merit them playing for Tottenham? Because they were fast. They're probably, not far off Werner at their pump. Should they play for Tottenham then? No. There's players out there that are ridiculously slow. Tony Adams, John Terry, people like that. Teddy Sheringham, slowest on the floor, but up there, had it all, and that's why they became top players. So I'm not all for Werner, but again, he's only there to prove me wrong because generally he proves me right. So I'm going to go into the predictions. As you always know, I do one with my heart and one with my head. So my heart tells me that we're going to do what we normally do. We play well, get the ball popping. I think the best we can hope for is a draw just because we don't do too great at Old Trafford. I know we won 6-1 there not long ago, but that was COVID times and Man United had a man sent off and all that stuff. So my heart tells me it's going to be a good game. I think it'll be a 2-2. My head, on the other hand, tells me that Man United will win this because they like to sit in banks of 4 and counter-attack anyway. So that's the perfect formula to play against Tottenham. And when you've got Rashford, you've got Garnacho and you've got Xerxes, with our defenders out of position, they're only going to get loads of chances in this game. I know we'll keep a lot of possession, but as soon as we lose it, cool. And that's probably the reason why Basuma's not playing, because he is susceptible to losing possession as well as getting it back. So we'll see whether my head or my heart was correct. And I will see you at half-time, hopefully with a smile on my face. Come on, you Spurs. Well, people. It is half-time. Mad. Now, first of all, I'm going to tell you what the score was. And you'll know this after the video comes out. Man United 0, Tottenham 1. Now, I'm fuming. Realistically, when you look in the grand scheme of things, the way that I've never seen Tottenham dominate anybody like this, a top side anyway. I'm not going to sit there and say that I'm about a top club. Like, it was disastrous. Gary Neville didn't even want to watch it no more. But we're only winning 1-0. Now, I would have been even more fuming if it was 11 versus 11. But, subject of topic, Bruno Fernandes. My guy. The one I was telling you about, that Eriksen needs to be playing over. Eriksen would have got on the ball a lot more better than him. He just sits there and moans all the time. Now, I'm not doubting his quality. He's a goal-scoring midfielder, but if he's not scoring goals and he's not creating, what is he doing apart from going around whinging everywhere? Now, when I look at that challenge, it's one of those, man. I want to be fair. As much as it's in favour of Spurs, it was falling over, but at the same time, you don't put your leg that high. So in the letter of the law, it's a red card. If he'd put that challenge in on me, it'd be one of those where I'd have just looked at him and said, I'll remember that, and probably would have done a lot worse afterwards to him and made sure that he remembers. But, petulance is what I described out of Bruno Fernandes. You're meant to be the club captain. As I said beforehand, you're the club captain. You're meant to lead by example. And if that's the example that you're setting, if I'm honest, that challenge set the tone for what Man United have been doing the whole game. Like, literally, they've had a couple of moments. You know, I'm not going to sit there and say I weren't shook, because we just weren't taking our chances. You know, Rashford's played a couple of good balls in towards Garnacho. That's been their out ball sort of thing. And a better pass, Garnacho's been in a couple of times. He hit the post, you know. And I spent most of that half shouting and screaming. You know, the neighbours would have heard me, because it's like, this is where Tottenham's issue is. It's like, with all that play there, and you watch that game, most top teams anyway would be at least 2-0 up. Like, you know, obviously I shouldn't compare ourselves to Man City too tough, but Man City would be 4-0 up. End of. You know, Man City probably would say to you that they haven't dominated a game like that at all this season. Maybe not last. We absolutely smashed Man United, but it's 1-0. And for me, it's like, we need to come out of the firing blocks second half, get a second, everyone's leaving the stadium. As long as it's 1-0 though, everybody knows that Tottenham is susceptible to a mistake. You know, all it takes is one of our players to get a second yellow, or better yet, another dirty challenge. All of a sudden it's game on 1-1, gives the crowd and the players an impetus to go and win. So we need to just go and, you know, my advice, or my team talk would be, everybody calm down. I don't want anybody to be looking at it and saying, I want 2 goals or 3 goals. Let's everybody play as a team as we have in the first half and get the second, and this game's done. You know, you can start resting players, you can bring people off. You know, everybody in this team has played their part. You know, defence have been solid enough, but they haven't really had anything go against them. Timo Werner, I like the guy, man, but he's got to take it around the keeper and score that. You know, with the pace that he's got, all he had to do is drop his shoulder. Onana's right, he's got to tap in. But again, even if he did it and dropped the shoulder, I wouldn't have confidence he was going to put the tap in away. This is the sort of guy that we got. You know, shout out to Brennan Johnson. I was his biggest critic last season. He's turned off his Instagram, banging goals. Fair play to him. He should have had a second, really. That one against the post was an opportunity. Maddison, probably man of the match at the moment. He's just got Agate headaches. But again, I'm not going to get too gassed, because as I said in the beginning of this video, and I've said in previous videos, what annoys me is that this is what Tottenham will do, and somehow we won't get the points. So I need to see a second goal, a third goal, and a fourth goal. Gary Neville said it perfectly. I don't understand how Tottenham haven't killed this game off. And we just need to be taking our opportunity to go and get a rare victory at Old Trafford, because no matter what form they're in, we end up not getting a result there. So I think everybody needs to calm down. I think we need to make sure that in the first 10 minutes we try and get a goal, sap out the energy out of the crowd, because, you know, if you're a Man United fan and you're in the crowd and it's still 1-0, 70 minutes to go, we saw Arsenal dig in against Man City, and everyone criticised them for that, but they did what they had to do. And my perspective is, Man United haven't got the players to do that. They're not going to sit there and defend that. And unlike Arsenal, they haven't got a lead to defend. They ain't got anything to defend. If you're going to sit there and do that, then Tottenham will make it 2 at some point, and you won't make it 1-1. So, yeah, if I'm going to say a score on this result, 7 out of 10, you know, Mickey van der Ven, I'll probably give him a 10 out of 10 just for taking the mick out of their defence. But again, Man United played Twente the other week, and I saw the goal that they scored, and a guy just literally ran through him exactly the same way Mickey van der Ven did. It's just, you know, as a football fan, and there's somebody that's going to be a critique of football, Man United, a lot of the players need to have a look at themselves and say, are you fit enough to wear a shirt like that? Because that goal, from Man United's perspective, is embarrassing. For Spurs, brilliant. So we'll see how it goes in the second half. I'm hoping for a couple more goals, but it's Tottenham Hotspur. We all know what happens potentially. So I'll see you guys at full time. Shameless. Shiggy Achilles here, and he is shameless. United. What? I can't stand you lot. Less of that. Right, let's get to the serious stuff, yeah? Man United 0, Tottenham 3. Realistically, it should have been 10-0 Tottenham. Like, I don't want to hear no Bruno Fernandes was sent off. I don't want to hear None of that, right? I've been somebody that looked at Ten Hag and felt sorry for him at times. You ain't got an identity for your team. Like, how is it took you 5 transfer windows, 3 or 4 years, and we still don't know what you want to do? Like, with my club, Tottenham, I get frustrated with my team. Like, realistically, we should be winning 10-0. But at least I can understand what is going to happen with Tottenham. I can tell you what's going to happen with Tottenham. The problem is, the only thing I'll probably get wrong is the result. I know we're going to play well. I know what we're going to do. I know what our fullbacks are going to do. I know what our centre-backs are going to do. I know what every player is going to do. It's just, I don't know what the result's going to be. I tend to get that wrong more often than not, because I thought we were going to lose today. But it's like, when you look at Man United's team, I'm looking at that lineup, yeah? And like, I'll go as far as saying, when I get the new FIFA, I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, based off the personnel, that's a nice little team. You know, Xerxes, Højlund, it's up to you. Rashford, decent player. Garnacho, Diallo. You know, Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen, Ugarte, Casemiro. You know, Mainu. They got some good players, man. But like, I think I'll go as far as saying, I don't think I'll ever see Tottenham dominate a big club in this country like that again. Like, that should, like, when people's, you know, you could be sat there in the pub and having a few beers and you'd be going, oh yeah, you know, Tottenham should have won 10-0, and like, people just catch joke. Nah, Tottenham should have won 10-0. To be fair to Man United, yeah, when it was weird because the crowd, fair play to them, picked them up, and the more the crowd started doing that, the 10 men got against us, and they had a couple of half chances that make it 2-1. All of a sudden, we're like, whoa, what's going on here? But I don't know who to blame more, because if the crowd did that from the start, that would have given the players more energy. If the players can do that with 10 men, they do it with 11. So my opinion on fans not singing at games is mad, because I'm sitting there in my living room, whether I go to the game or whatever, I go nuts. It doesn't matter, because it's encouragement. And the fans will probably learn that if Man United are that bad a side, you need encouragement in life. It doesn't matter who it is. But Man United are bad. Like, I'll go as far as saying, if I wake up in the morning and find Ten Hag's got sacked, I wouldn't be surprised. That was bad, man. Like, I've looked at every team in the Premier League, not only this season, last season. I haven't seen it that bad. Like, I've seen, to be honest, in my life as a Spurs fan, I've seen some performances like that. I remember when we went to Man City, and I think we lost like 6-0 or 6-1 under AVB, and when they had Pellegrini, and Negredo scored like a hat-trick, and Aguero scored a couple, and it was like, realistically, we could have lost 12-0 that day. It was pretty, but for me, that was just as bad. The difference is that if we took our chances like Man City did against us, that could have been 6 or 7, and it would have been, no one could even argue it. It's pretty bad for Man United. So my viewpoint is, the manager's always the scapegoat, isn't it? So he's got to go. In terms of Tottenham, you know, I'm not going to get too carried away. I love the result, not just because it's a Tottenham win. It's more like, growing up, I've not liked United, and I'll be real with you. As a youngster, it was through jealousy. Man United used to win everything. A lot of my friends supported Man United. A lot of them supported Arsenal, and that's where I grew my hatred. So I'm not going to get to the age of my age and all of a sudden have a lot of respect and love for United. I can't stand them, but that's all through their success, if I'm honest. But, you know, they got a long way to go. In terms of us, I'm not going to get too carried away. For me, we got a tougher game away to Brighton next week. And they're a more resolute side that can give us a game, and we've gone to Brighton the last couple of years and haven't got a good result. I think last season we lost 4-2. But, you know, if I'm going to go do quick shout outs, Maddison, brilliant. Defence, I was gonna say brilliant, but it didn't need to be. My man of the match was probably Kulusevski. Absolutely brilliant today. Like, everybody that's cussed him over the whole times. I remember I used to back him that tough, that I used to say he's a better player than Saka when he was on good form. When he's on bad form, everyone's catching joke. Now we're looking at it. It's one of them ones where you're looking at Saka and you're looking at Kulusevski. I'm not going to sit there and say Kulusevski a better player, but Kulusevski's showing what he's really about. and people are starting to talk about him a lot more. And I've spoke about him like this the whole time. I love the guy. So shout out to him. Shout out to Solanke as well for scoring. And more importantly, Brennan Johnson, all you little trolls that are out there cussing people, no matter what it was, racism, disabilities, all that. Brennan Johnson's telling you, like, shut up. And for me, anybody that's getting any grief on social media, just cut it off. If I did it, I'd cut it off. Like, I don't care. If you ain't strong enough, cut it off. If you're weak enough, just cut it off. End of the day, Brennan Johnson's made the right decision. 4-4. All the haters, shut your mouth. So, yeah, great result, great victory. I want to enjoy my Sunday properly. I want to go and have some more food now and watch Sky Sports absolutely rinse Man United like they should. So, yeah, all the best. Love you all. Love, like, share, subscribe, comment, do all of that. Love you all. And I'll see you in the midweek. Love. Come on, you Spurs.